I feel like my daughter is trying to distance herself and sort of move on from me, and she just said I wouldn't be spending Christmas with her and my grandkids, but all I want is to be included. Yesterday, I, 70F, texted my daughter, "What's up for Christmas?" Usually by now, we've discussed the holidays and made plans. I knew that she's been unhappy with the situation because she feels she doesn't get to celebrate the way she wants to. I've made lots of suggestions and then, when none worked, I didn't say anything. She hasn't been answering my texts. Sometimes all day, sometimes a day. This was unusual until the last few months. We'd also discussed buying local, not being Amazon phonics or spending a lot of money. Today it was suggested the grandparents all go in and buy a trampoline for the grandsons. That's fine. I can do it. My daughter and I were very close for years and years. In fact, after she got together with her now husband, there were conversations about doing something with the other grandparents. My daughter immediately said, "My mom is part of all Christmas holiday planning." She said it so firmly that they stopped talking about anything but all of us together. Except, this year, my daughter texted me a day later and said that I'm not coming over on Christmas Eve, spending the night, and then opening presents with the grandkids. I have been crying ever since. It's not just that I'm no longer part of Christmas morning. This is the culmination of being shut out over months. We want to just do this as a family. Please don't think I wouldn't understand if this was a conversation that included me and included other ideas for us to be together. But nothing inclusive. I have moved 3 times since retiring to be near my family since 2020 BC they moved. Each time it was forever. I have done so many things to accommodate them. I texted back that I was very hurt. We are going to have a phone conversation because they think I'm going to attack them. That I'm pissed. I'm not. I'm so hurt that I can't stop crying. I want to ask to be included. To be part of decisions. And if I can't be, just to be talked with about why. Instead, I feel like I see them all less and less each year. And that I'm cut off. How do I talk with them about this? Update. Okay, I've tried to answer so many of you. There's over 600 replies and I can't get through them. As I said, I wanted some advice on what to say in our phone conversation today. I was heartbroken because I was not going to spend Christmas morning, or spend the night on Christmas Eve, lay my daughters. I was heartbroken because for over 8 years, we have spent the holiday together. Before that, my daughter and I spent it together. She's 35. And she was a full independent woman when we made these arrangements. Yep. I was heartbroken. I came here since I honestly had no idea how to talk with them today on the phone. This is a hard place to make posts, Reddit. I try to anticipate your concerns while also not making it too long. I've had my posts removed for length. I honestly thought this might happen again. Lol, instead, you guys are still replying. Based on the thoughtful, some of them very direct, responses here, I began to see a different side to this emotional issue. I decided to use my trauma therapy teachings, which require using I statements to not lay trips, put the other person's on the defensive, or to be passive-aggressive. I've lived my entire life not using I statements, so it wasn't easy, but I did it. When they called, I could barely talk. It was the first time for me to be this direct. I did start with my feelings got hurt, and I'm not mad. I also told them that I'd never used I statements in a discussion before, so please believe me when I say it isn't my intent to lay trips, or to blame them. At any rate, when I told them about Christmas morning, they told me about mitigating circumstances and that this is a one-off situation. That, like anyone, they don't know what next year holds, but they expect I will be part of the Christmas like in years past. I had realized that moving to an isolated place upon retirement, and during lockdown, that I'd lost a whole lot of myself. It's hard for me, and I'm not alone in this, to make friends under normal circumstances. I was a workaholic who suddenly had a grandson that needed me. He was born with a broken collarbone and some other issues. My daughter and Sil were not told this, if the hospital even knew. The grandparents were involved in helping. At the same time, we were all sensitive to the changes in the new parents' lives. Yes, my daughter did ask me to move to be closer. So I moved halfway between work and their location. Moving further away during the pandemic and lockdown was hard. There's a process one goes through upon retiring. I probably took years since I moved during lockdown. That move required 3 moves because my home needed to be staged. I moved to the mainland for 45 days, then the island for 2 months, and then to my final house. I'm not complaining, it's just that there were huge changes in my life during a historical lockdown that all of us were afraid of. Also, I suddenly realized I was old. I never felt old until they said, older people are more likely to die from COVID. I'm a young older person. I have aches and pains, sure. But they're really not any worse than my 40s and 50s. Until COVID, I truly never believed I was old. So lots of huge changes in my life? Maybe younger people could have handled it better. I only know that it had a huge impact on me. And like some of you said, I had lost myself. In our telephone conversation, I learned that it's the 3rd baby and taking on volunteer work is what we don't have time meant. It wasn't anything I did. I was also told that I'm the only one invited to Christmas at all. There's 3 sets of grandparents since I'm divorced. Anyway, I'm not sure I've done a good job of explaining it. There's no interior motive for adding things. I read your concerns and try to address them. I'm going to start taking my older 2 grandsons to movies, having them spend the night and sometimes bring them to training. This will help my daughter, training, because it's hard to have a toddler and go to different trainings in different places. I'm going to work harder also at being more independent and to become more dedicated to my small business. I'm working very hard at coming back to independence. I do already volunteer for my grandson's sports nonprofit. I've even gone when my family isn't there. I'm defensive because many people called me a selfish, whining boomer. I was asking for help because I honestly didn't know how to deal with this. I thank the many people who helped me. I obviously have work to do. Sorry I can't answer you all. I apologize for typos. Reddit is not letting me to return my cursor back to errors. Instead it returns me to the last word and period of this apology.